Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is the first commentary of 2023 and there is no bigger game to start off the new year with the 189th Manchester derby. The location is Old Trafford for this lunchtime kickoff, and both sides are hoping for the dreams of a derby win to become reality, as both sides will fancy their chances getting 3 points from today's game. The Red Devils are starting to build real momentum under Ten Hag with 8 wins in a row in all competitions and 9 in their last 10. It is form that is worthy of going for the title, but a slow start to the season for United means the aim is top 4 finish for Champions League football next year. For the blue side of Manchester, Pep Guardiola and his team crashed out of the League Cup on Wednesday at the quarter-final stage to Southampton, a competition where United progressed into the semi-finals and they'll be facing Nottingham Forest over 2 legs. The reverse fixture at the Etihad was City dominance, with the game ending 6-3 and a hat-trick each for local lad Phil Foden and goal-scoring machine Erling Haaland. Vast improvements, though, have been made, with Manchester United more solid defensively and Marcus Rashford firing once again, who has got 1 in each of his last 3 league games, including 2 as well against Charlton in their last game in the League Cup, and a penalty in the game before that against Everton in the FA Cup. So for the 52nd Premier League Manchester derby, will it be Ten Hag to defeat his teacher Pep Guardiola for the bragging rights of the city? Thank you to everyone who's joining. Absolute my luck, isn't it, for them to all start kicking off as soon as I go live, but it is what it is. It's just one of them. Literally, as soon as I start talking, they start barking, and then as soon as I finish, they stop. Just absolutely my luck. But we've got kick-off in just under 8 minutes' time now. Now we're going through the lineups very shortly. As you can see, you can see them on screen, obviously, but I'm going to go through them in a bit more detail for you. But it is the Manchester derby. It's one of the biggest games on the calendar in the Premier League. And like I say, apologies for the dogs barking at the start there. Just absolutely my luck. As soon as I start, they'll start kicking off. So my luck. But anyway, let's do the lineups quickly before we count down to kick off, because it is under now 7 minutes away. We will start with the home team of Manchester United. They start with David De Gea in goal, who's got 8 clean sheets this season already in the Premier League. That's the same amount as he got last season, so vast improvements for the Spaniard. Aaron Wan-Bissaka plays at right back due to an injury to Diogo Dalot. And with Rafael Varane at centre-back, he'll play alongside left-back Luke Shaw. We have seen him at centre-back in the last couple of games. He's going to have to do it once again. Not got an easy task. You may feel like Haaland might try and target that Manchester United left-hand side of the defence, but we'll have to wait and see. But Luke Shaw has been playing pretty well at centre-back in the times he's had to cover there for Manchester United. That means Tyrell Malacia will play at left-back, the Dutchman who had a bit of a horrid time against Manchester City in the 6-3 defeat. He was subbed off at half-time and picked up a yellow card within 20 minutes. He'll be looking to not repeat that kind of performance once again. In the holding midfield, we've got Casemiro, who's revolutionised Manchester United's midfield. They've been looking and they've been praying for someone like him in the last few years, and they finally got what they want with a 30-year-old Brazilian coming in the summer for around 60-70 million pounds. Christian Eriksen then will play alongside Fred in the midfield as well. Fred comes in to make his 15th Premier League appearance. It's only his 5th start of the season, and it's his first start since mid-October when Manchester United beat Spurs 2-0 at home. On the right, I've gone for Bruno Fernandes, who has picked up form recently in the last few months, playing a lot better than what he was doing anyway, but he's got 2 assists as well in his last 2, one against Wolves and one against Bournemouth in the last Premier League game. Rashford has been absolutely on fire. He's on the left-hand side. He's got 7 goals so far in the Premier League, like I said before, 3 in his last 3 games. He'll be looking to keep up his scoring form. And as well with Marcus Rashford, he scored in his last 8 home games in all competitions. Scored in his last 8. That includes Europa League, League Cup, FA Cup and Premier League, so he's absolutely on fire and he's loved playing at Old Trafford right now. And Anthony Martial comes in, 9th Premier League appearance of the season. He has got 3 goals. 2 of them did come against Manchester City in the 6-3 victory that Manchester City picked up. But he came on at half-time, around half-time. Martial, I think around 50th minute, scored 2 goals for them to kind of cut the deficit, to not make it look as embarrassing as it could have been, because it was 6-1 at one point, that Manchester derby. So that's the Manchester United team. There is 3 changes from their last league game against Bournemouth, where Maguire, Lindelof come out for Malacia and Varane, and then Van de Beek's obviously been replaced because he's now out for the season with a knee injury, and he's replaced by Fred in the starting 11. And then the bench is Tom Heaton as the goalkeeper, Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Lisandro Martinez, Scott McTominay, Kobe Mainoo, who made his debut at the age of 17 in the week against Charlton. He played around 60 minutes for them as well. He's on the bench, born in Stockport like Phil Foden. Alejandro Garnacho is among the substitutes. Anthony, who scored his first Manchester United goal against Manchester City, is on the bench alongside Anthony Alanga. The likes of Dalot didn't make the squad. Sancho still not returned yet. And Wout Weghorst signed a bit too late to make the starting 11. For Manchester City, we'll go through their team. Ederson will start in goal, the 7 clean sheets so far in the Premier League, 1 less than David De Gea. Kyle Walker will play at right back. He got his first minutes against Chelsea in the Premier League since the United game, the 6-3, when they beat Chelsea around a week and a half ago now. Akanji will play at centre-back alongside Nathan Ake. Diaz out injured, Stones out injured. So it's Akanji and Ake to play as the 2 centre-halves, with João Cancelo being restored back to left-back. He had a bit of a rusty couple of weeks. João Cancelo got dropped out the Portuguese squad in the latter stages of the World Cup. He's not quite been implemented yet into the City squad, but he has started the derby today. He'll be looking to improve and get his name back on the team sheet, because when you've got the likes of Ake playing so well, and Akanji and even Rico Lewis, it's hard for Cancelo, so he'll have to perform. Rodri will play a hole in the midfield. Phillips to the bench. He started against Southampton, but Rodri is back in. He'll play in front, and he'll have in front of him Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. And Kevin De Bruyne, who did he did get 2 assists in the 6-3. In October. Riyad Mahrez is on the right. He comes in with 2 league goals this season against Southampton and Chelsea. On the left is Phil Foden, who got his first career hat-trick against Manchester United in the 6-3. He'll be looking to add to his 7 goals he's already got this season. And the main man, Erling Haaland, 16 Premier League games, 21 Premier League goals, includes 3 hat-tricks, 3 braces, and he's only failed to score in 4 of those 16 games he's played in, and they were against Bournemouth, Liverpool, Brentford and Chelsea. Can they stop him? It'll be difficult. We'll have to wait and see. So we are under a minute from kickoff. If you are here and you're not like to subscribe, please do. As we are moments away from kickoff in this Manchester derby, who will come out on top? Manchester City have won the last 3 Manchester derbies of an aggregate score of 12-4. And the last win for Manchester United was back in March of 2021. Where it was a 2-0 victory at the Etihad. Bruno Fernandes scored an early penalty in the 2nd minute, and Luke Shaw added to that in the 50th minute. It was behind closed doors, and it was at the time 1st versus 2nd. But right now it is 4th versus 2nd. Currently, a win for United will put them 3 points ahead of Newcastle and a point behind Manchester City. But a win for Manchester City will put them 2 points behind Arsenal, putting the pressure on Mikel Arteta's men. It's a historic game. With historic players, will we get a historic Manchester derby at Old Trafford? Ten Hag versus Guardiola. Manchester United versus Manchester City. Referee for today's game is Stuart Atwell. He's refereed Manchester United twice this season, both away from home at Brentford, the 4-0 loss, and Chelsea, the 1-1 late draw. And he's refereed Manchester City once, and that was away at Leeds a couple weeks ago. It'll be United to kick off, kicking from left to right. Manchester City from right to left. As Eriksen plays it back to Casemiro. Back it goes once more to Luke Shaw on the left. Simple pass to Malacia. Back to Luke Shaw. Hooks it away first time. It loops in the sky where he'll aim towards Akanji. Martial put him under pressure. He jumps on top of the Swiss international Martial and lands awkwardly on his head. As the ball just looped for a throw-in for Manchester City as it came off Martial's head last. Yeah, very awkward landing on the back for Martial. Just slowly getting back to his feet. Nothing Akanji did wrong, just holding his ground there, the Swiss international. As the timer is set, we've got Cancelo on the ball on the left-hand side. Being chased down by Portuguese teammate Fernandes, but he's got away from around 3 Manchester United players, and then he's tripped by Christian Eriksen on the halfway line. A minute in, there'll be a free kick to Manchester City. Positive play from João Cancelo, darting forward. Yeah, and he's clipped there by the Danish international there, Christian Eriksen. He knows what he's doing. João Cancelo was in full flow there. Like I said, did not start the quarterfinals or the round of 16 for Portugal. He was replaced by Diogo Dalot, who is injured for Manchester United for this derby. Hence why Aaron Wan-Bissaka's in the starting 11. We do remember, though, all the battles that Aaron Wan-Bissaka has previously had against City. Mainly against Raheem Sterling, who's now left for Chelsea. He's not got a bad record against Manchester City. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's won 5 and lost 5. So a lot of other professional footballers have got a lot worse of a record against Manchester City, that's for sure. As City just in control possession in their own half currently between their back line. It's back out with Cancelo, the number 7, changed his number this season from 27, and here's Nathan Ake, who did score for Bournemouth against Manchester United back in the 2018-2019 season in a 4-1 defeat. And here's Akanji, brings the ball out from defence, gets the ball, he plays it just behind Riyad Mahrez. That'll be a throw-in for Manchester United just inside their own half. It was positive from Akanji bringing the ball forward for his team, but then as he looked for Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side, it just been played behind the Algerian. And it's United back in possession. A nice ball from De Gea to find Malacia on the left, just inside his own half. Goes back to Luke Shaw, being pressed by De Bruyne. Has to find David De Gea, who takes a touch and clears towards the United right, where Cancelo will lose the header to Fernandes, but he'll only drop as far as Nathan Ake. And it's City back in possession. We're just under 3 minutes in. It's still Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. That's Akanji on the ball, playing alongside Ake, who were both brought on at half-time against Southampton, but to no success for the Blues. It's been worked out to Cancelo. He's been given a lot of the ball in the early stages of this Manchester derby. Outside the boot ball, down the left-hand side to Bernardo Silva. First time ball across the box. He's looking for Mahrez. It will drop to Malacia, but he'll lose the ball to Mahrez, but then he regains the possession again in the left-back area, ahead of Riyad Mahrez. Great play from Malacia, and it's now Casemiro, pokes it through to Eriksen. Finds a ball looking for Malacia, who'd made a run forward, but it's Kyle Walker to see the ball out for a throw-in. Again, just inside the City half, trying to maybe work out what United's game plan is. Looks like they were ready to counter there quickly. Malacia battling well with Mahrez, and that'll be a key battle for today's game, seeing who will come out on top there on that Manchester City right-hand side and the United left-hand side. It's Cancelo again bursting forward into the United half. He loses his footing and loses the ball to Bruno Fernandes, who has to just poke it back to De Gea, who comes out of his box and clears it unconvincingly. As far as Rodri, who's found himself in the United half. And it's now back with Ake and across to Manuel Akanji. But Manchester United are in top form. 1 defeat in their last 18 games in all competitions. And their only other defeat before those 18 was to Manchester City, 6-3. And their only other defeat in that 18 was to Aston Villa away, when Unai Emery was newly appointed as Aston Villa manager. But they have not drawn or lost a game since the World Cup in all competitions, Manchester United. De Gea kicks out of his hands. Comes off Kyle Walker. Finds Ake. Plays it forward to Bernardo Silva. Wide left to Cancelo. Gets onto his right foot. Then plays it back to Ake inside the City half. Finds a ball. Nice ball. Out to Kyle Walker. He's got lots of room to run into. He crosses that border into the Manchester United half. He finds the ball inside, way behind Kevin De Bruyne, and it's picked up by Casemiro. Finds Fernandes. Martial tries to take it on the turn, but he loses out to Rodri, and City back in possession. But that was poor from Kyle Walker. He played it behind the Belgian of Kevin De Bruyne, where he should have got it in front of him and into his path, because there was a chance there for Manchester City, because like I said, Kyle Walker had won the ball in lots of room, where with his pace that he still got at the age of 32, he could have definitely caused danger there for Manchester United. Okay, across to Akanji, just inside his own 18-yard box. Is it forward to De Bruyne, around the corner to Kyle Walker, and then back to Akanji, signed in the summer for 15 million from Borussia Dortmund. Unbelievable signing for Manchester City. He has previously played against Manchester United, Akanji, before joining City. It was when he was at FC Basel in the 2017-2018 Champions League. De Bruyne takes it past Fred, leaves him for dead. De Bruyne plays it across Bernardo Silva on the edge of the box, shifts it on once more to Cancelo on the left. He could have had a shot, but he played out wide instead. Cancelo dinks it towards the far post. Malacia can win the header. Has to be helped away by Marcus Rashford as he volleys it away for United, and they have to push out here as Martial will give chase, but Ake gets there first. Clearance isn't great. Finds Fernandes. He tries to find the ball to Martial, and he is offside. Again, Manchester City getting forward, and Manchester United winning it back and looking dangerous on the counter. I think it'll be key, the pace of the City backline that they have got to deal with the counter-attack of Manchester United. You know, Ake and Akanji are quite mobile, especially Nathan Ake. Akanji on the halfway line. Kyle Walker suffered groin injury this season. That's kept him out for a lot of the season. Put his World Cup in doubt as well, but he was able to play 2 full 90 minutes in the knockout stages against Senegal and France in the quarterfinals. We had to deal with Kylian Mbappe. Cancelo goes for a switch towards Mahrez. It's cut out by Malacia. Header won by Kyle Walker, and it will fall to the hands, or to the feet, should I say, of David De Gea, who did not make the Spain World Cup squad, but he is making his 395th Premier League appearance. He's nearing 400. He's currently 10th on Manchester United's all-time appearance makers list, with 511 appearances for the Red Devils. He's only 18 away from 9th, who is Dennis Irwin. Casemiro gets it in midfield. Fernandes to Fred. Forward to Fernandes. Casemiro works out wide left to Malacia. Heads it down the line to Rashford. He's being pressed by Akanji, but he gets it back to Malacia, who just has to turn back towards his own goal to keep possession for Manchester United. Then he looks forward again and plays it forward to Fred. Inside to Fernandes. Lays it off to Malacia. Forward to Eriksen. Doesn't beat Kyle Walker to the ball, but Walker's clearance all goes as far as Shaw at left centre-back. And United are back in possession. Just over 8 minutes played in this Manchester derby. It is 0-0 still. No real big chances as of yet for either side. It definitely looks like City will want more of the ball, and United will look to counter, but it is currently United who have got the possession. Since both of these sides' last league game, they have both played in 2 cup games, both in the FA Cup where they both progressed, but it was only United who progressed in the League Cup. Manchester City fell to a defeat to Southampton on Wednesday night, as United have got forward here, and Fred's laid out to Rashford on the left-hand side. In the final third, he's got one-on-one with Kyle Walker. Now Akanji plays to the edge to Martial, tries to replay it into Rashford. It deflects out to Malacia on the left, fakes one cross, then puts it in. It deflects off Riyad Mahrez, and that'll be a corner kick for Manchester United. 9 minutes in, it's a positive start for both sides, but there's an offside flag, so there will not be a corner for Manchester United. Let's see where this offside came from. As Martial played it forward and it deflected off Rodri, Malacia was stood in an offside position. Very tight, there wasn't much in it, but he was just straying offside there. The Dutchman, he did make it to the World Cup, didn't make any appearances. He sat on the bench for the entire tournament, but still getting the call up is impressive, as Akanji's ball's short, but just about reaches Mahrez, who's brought to the ground by Malacia. as he pressed up against the Algerian. He obviously scored twice against Chelsea in the FA Cup. Riyad Mahrez, a superb free kick and a penalty as well. Hence why he's got the nod. Ahead of the likes of Jack Grealish and Julian Alvarez. Here's Nathan Ake. And they've lost out. Eriksen out to Fernandes on the right hand side. Goes across goal with the shots, and it always dragging wide there from the Portuguese. The man with the captain's armband on. I think the ball was given away there from Bernardo Silva. It was a sloppy ball. It fell to the feet of Marcus Rashford, who then found Eriksen. Then once more out wide right to Fernandes. And he only had one thought in his mind, and that was to shoot across goal. It's just a couple yards wide. Always curling the wrong side of the post for Manchester United. Pep Guardiola clearly not happy with Bernardo Silva losing the ball so easily. But like I was saying, it's 5 wins in the last 10 derbies for Manchester City. United winning the other 4 and 1 draw, which was a 0-0 at Old Trafford in December of 2020 during the COVID times. So a pretty equal record if you date back the last 10 or so games. But like I say, the last 3 derbies have all been Manchester City victories. And here's a Kanji who finds Rodri. He's already got 2 Premier League titles under his belt after signing in 2019 for just under £63 million. Here he is on the ball again in the left centre-back position. He's got Martial close to him, so he goes back to the Brazilian Ederson. 200 Premier League appearances now for Ederson. 98 clean sheets as well, so he's nearing the 100 goal. There's always question marks over his goalkeeping ability, shot stopping, but you can never question his distribution. He's always known to find the right pass to break down defences. You may remember a goal City scored against Brighton early on in the season where his long ball found Haaland and he scored from the pass and registered an assist. Here's Kyle Walker on halfway, plays it forward to Riyad Mahrez. Back into the City half with Rodri. Okay, 4 points between these two sides, and they've both played 17 matches so far. Kanji to Mahrez. We expected this possession to be kept from Manchester City. No real press from United, just holding back for now as Mahrez on the halfway line, assessing his options. He twisted and turned so many times, not knowing where to pass, but he's just gone back to Nathan Ake instead. So the right back, Kyle Walker, on the halfway line. Goes back again to the number 25, Akanji. Spent 4 years at Dortmund before being persuaded. Don't know how much persuasion he needed. How much persuading he needed. Got there in the end. By Erling Haaland, but he did say he had a phone call from the Norwegian. And I don't think Haaland's had a touch of the ball, if we're going to be honest. With 13 minutes in. Just see him come into shot now, looking to get the ball, dropping a bit deeper, but they've not used him yet. Walker. Again, still on the halfway line. Not much movement forward from City. United defending very compact. Looking to hit Manchester City on the counter-attack. Pep Guardiola's first Manchester derby was at Old Trafford. It was a 2-1 victory in the September of 2016. De Bruyne and Iheanacho scored for City, with Ibrahimovic getting the goal back, but they weren't good enough on the day to get a draw against Guardiola's men. As City lose possession as they try and get forward, and Fernandes sends the ball away wide left to Martial. This is where they're dangerous. This is where they want to try and attack Manchester City. Martial cutting in from the left, plays the ball across towards Rashford. It's an important sliding interception from João Cancelo to clear, and United are looking threatening on the counter. Martial was set away on the left. He tried to get the ball in the middle towards Rashford and Eriksen. In the end, it's Cancelo who was able to clear ball into the box to Rashford. Lays it off to Fred. Out wide left now to Malacia. Can't work the cross, but he plays it back into Fred. Closed down by Rodri and Mahrez, but he keeps it alive, the Brazilian. That's fantastic midfield play. It's now Martial who puts the ball in once again, and it's collected by Ederson. Yeah, Martial, like, in the left-back position there. Well, like Malacia, you'd expect to be on attacks, but his pass wasn't as good this time, and it was easily collected from Ederson, who's thrown it out to João Cancelo, who's driven the ball from the edge of his box into the Manchester United half, and again they slow it down, because once again, United defend tightly, and they're closing spaces for City. They can't quite get the ball in between the lines, but ball down the line by Mahrez finds De Bruyne, who looks to get the cross in. That could be a goal kick, and it is. As De Bruyne fired the cross in, it came off Fred, then back off the Manchester City captain for today's game. Yeah. Tried the cross, came off Fred, back off De Bruyne. That'll be a goal kick for Manchester United and David De Gea. And there is the new signing. They wanted him to try and feature in this game, or at least get on the bench, but it was done a little bit too late, or he just wasn't quite ready. And that is Wout Weghorst for Manchester United. Scored 9 goals this season in 18 appearances in all competitions for Besiktas. And now he terminated that loan, and he's now on loan at United from Burnley, where he's only able to score 2 league goals, wasn't able to keep them up, but looks like Burnley's having great success under Company in the Championship, so that'll be a bit of a blessing in disguise. They got relegated, because Burnley fans are now watching unbelievable football from the sounds of it. They weren't quite good enough for Manchester United, though. They were beaten at Old Trafford in the League Cup a couple of rounds ago. At Old Trafford. Again, I don't think Erling Haaland has touched the ball, which is worrying. Again, no real chances for either side. Fernandes had the shot on the right side of the box, but that dragged quite far wide. Didn't really test Ederson. And again, that ball in towards Rashford by Martial, which was intercepted by Cancelo, was a dangerous chance, but no shot at goal. But for City, they haven't done anything yet. They definitely had more of the ball. They've had more possession, but can't quite say they've done any more than that, unfortunately. And they lose out. Mahrez dispossessed. Ball forward into Martial. As Casemiro loses out to Rodri. It's a misplaced ball from the Brazilian, and Rodri brings it away. Finds De Bruyne on the left. He's been chased down by Fred. That'll be his job for today's game, and he dispossesses De Bruyne twice. And that really gets the United fans going. They like that. That is Fred's job, to close down City's midfielders, to get them off the ball, or to at least put them under pressure. And he saw De Bruyne get the ball. He tackled him once. De Bruyne just about got there again, and then tackled him for a second time, and that got United back in possession of the ball. But then they have lost it once again, and it's now with Bernardo Silva. It's a slow tempo for Manchester City so far. Ake does play it forward to Rodri. Nice little ball there, and he gets away from Eriksen and Fred and releases it to De Bruyne on the left once again. Gets into the space for Cancelo. He's 1-on-1 with Warren Wan-Bissaka. Gets the ball to the edge of the box to Rodri. Lays out of his feet and looks for Mahrez, but again it's just behind the Algerian. And that's a throw-in for Manchester United. A couple of times that's happened for City so far, where balls have just been played just behind the intended target. Manchester City are looking to equal or break the record of scoring their most amount of goals against Manchester United in one season. They scored 8 against them in the 1954-1955 season. But the most United have ever conceded in one season against one team was Liverpool last season, where they conceded 9, where they were beaten 5-1 at Old Trafford and 4-0 at Anfield. Obviously, Manchester City have already scored 6 this season against Manchester United. Not sure they'll be scoring that many again today, but who knows? Yeah, it is more possession for for Manchester City so far. 65% of the ball for the Blues. But it hasn't all been, sunshine and derby victories for Manchester City when looking at the previous encounters between these two sides. From 1990 to 2001, Manchester City failed to beat Manchester United in all competitions. That's 11 years. They faced each other 16 times, where Manchester United won 10 of them and they drew 6. And it was 8 losses in a row from 1993 to 2000. So it's not always been like this for City, where they do win 3 derbies in a row. They're looking to make it 4 today, with Mahrez breaking away on the right-hand side. De Bruyne looks for the overlap of Kyle Walker. It's just about intercepted by Malassi, who was able to poke behind for a corner. It's the best he could do because Kyle Walker was bombing forward there and he was ready to look for a cutback, but didn't quite reach the experienced fullback. And it will be a corner though for Manchester City. It'll be the first of the game. Certainly for Manchester City it will be. They'll send the defenders up and the taller players in the box. Ake loves a header despite being only 5'11". Haaland, Rodri, Akanji. That's where Manchester City's height really lies. Mahrez, in-swinger towards Ake, just about misses it. It's Casemiro who heads away. As far as De Bruyne, who goes back to Kyle Walker. Forward to Foden, who I don't think I've said before. That touch. De Bruyne goes for a cross quite far out, blocked by Fernandes. It will drop to the Portuguese, who touches it back to Fred. Headed forward, only as far as De Bruyne. Goes back to the halfway line to Kyle Walker. It's now to Rodri. And it's now Bernardo Silva. He does like a goal against Manchester United. He's got 3 against them in 11 appearances. All of them coming at Old Trafford in the 2018-2019 season. 1 in the 2019-2020 season in the League Cup. And then he also scored last year when Manchester City came to Old Trafford and won 2-0. He scored to make it 2-0. Because the first one was at Eric Bailly. Own goal in the 7th minute, and then right on half-time, that's when Bernardo Silva came in at the back post to score beyond David De Gea. And at the time, that was Manchester United's 4th home game in a row without a win. Obviously, they're looking a lot more positive now, as they've won 8 in a row in all competitions. Bernardo Silva on the halfway line. Again, just very, very good defending from United, really limiting Manchester City to doing absolutely anything. Again, Haaland, I don't think he's touched the ball. Here is Cancelo, a ball in behind for Foden in the box. He takes it in his stride, then tries a pull back, but it's Varane to stop the cross, but it's stopped play anyway for an offside on Phil Foden as Cancelo played it in behind to him. Is it the right call? Yeah, he just strayed offside there. The Stockport-born winger, 22 years of age, Phil Foden, making his 196th Manchester City appearance, so closing in on 200 for the club. Rodri heads it back to Ake. Goes back once more to Ederson. Has to clear first time out towards Walker on the right hand side, who keeps it in. And again slows it right down and nearly has his pass intercepted by Bruno Fernandes, but it just went under the Portuguese foot. And it's now with Akanji, and City will build from the back once again. Ake again. 2. Ederson. They have got a good home record this season. United, they've only lost 1 at home in the league, and that was to Brighton on the opening weekend. But here's Mahrez. Goes inside to Rodri, to the left to Bernardo Silva. Looks for a cross towards Mahrez. It's Malassi who gets there, but he will fall to Haaland. Couple of touches, then a strike. It's blocked well by Casemiro. And then he's fouled on the edge of the box, Casemiro, by Mahrez, and that'll be the end of the attack. That's a first sniff for Erling Haaland there. There's Bernardo Silva did look for Mahrez at the far post. It was cleared by Malassi. He'd almost sliced at it, the Dutchman, and then it fell to Erling Haaland, who, like I said, had a couple of touches, then decided to fire. But it was blocked by the right boot of Casemiro, who then went on to win a free kick to relieve the pressure for his side. Cancelo with the header towards Foden, loses out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's not had much defending to do so far. As a ball in behind, looks for Martial. It'll be Akanji to get there first, who will just lay it back to his goalkeeper, Ederson. And we'll start from the back again. 24 minutes played in this Manchester derby. Like I said, it's the 52nd Manchester derby, where United have won 24 of them and Manchester City have won 18. 8 of them at Old Trafford. Kanji, great ball into Haaland, who's dropped a bit deep for the ball, then links up with De Bruyne to find the Belgian, who then play a ball right across to Foden, who will get there ahead of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but once again Foden's flagged for offside. Not the first time, might not be the last. That was Darren Can, I think, flagging. Great ball from De Bruyne. And again, I think Foden had just gone too early. Yeah, that was Darren Can with the flag up. It'd be Varane to take the free kick. The man who has played in 2 World Cup finals, 1 win and a loss. He's also won bags of trophies as well. Varane for Real Madrid. He's got 4 Champions Leagues. It's not too bad. Malacia clears to Fred. Fernandes to Eriksen. Takes on the turn nicely. Plays it forward to Martial. Lays it off into Casemiro. And he works out wide right to Marcus Rashford on the halfway line. He goes for an audacious switch out to the left-hand side. And it'll find Fernandes. But it just fell behind him. And in the scorpion kick fashion, he was able to just kick it forward. But it had no real direction. And it trickled out for a goal kick in the end. But the link-up and the build-up and the way they're getting out of tight positions, Manchester United, it is positive and it is dangerous. And, Ten Hag's only been in charge since the summer. So, in another year or so time, we've seen that with Arteta now. After a few years in the process and the build of a team, once you do get your system in the way you play, regimented into your side, it works. It's all about time, and the fact he's not had much time, but he might be losing this second Manchester derby with De Bruyne playing out wide right to Mahrez in the box, gets it across, but it's blocked away and it's cleared by Malacia. Again, City breaking forward. Like I said, the fact that Ten Hag's only been in charge for what is, 6 months, and you can definitely see the way he likes to play and the combinations he likes his midfielders and attackers to do when linking up and getting the ball forward, as Ake's ball is just a bit short to Foden, but he does just get there ahead of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, as City are camped in Manchester United's half currently, with a Kanji across to Nathan Ake, who had interest from Manchester United a couple of years ago when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was manager at the time. Great ball to Cancelo, who drives forward and inside. Lays it off to Rodri. He's been pressed, but he just about pokes it back to Ake, who was nearly dispossessed by Casemiro and Martial. But it was calm midfield play from Rodri. Mahrez gets it, lays it off to De Bruyne, tries to get Kyle Walker in behind first time, but it's blocked. And it'll be a throw-in for Manchester City. Now at the age of 31, Kevin De Bruyne had a great season last year for goal scoring in the Premier League. He got 15 in 30 Premier League appearances, 1 in every 2 games. Not quite been in the same goal scoring streak this season. He's only got the 3. As a ball in behind, look for Bernardo Silva, but it's collected easily in the end by David De Gea. Luke Shaw to Malacia at left back. Has to go back to David De Gea. Eriksen. Down to Rashford, he swapped from left wing to right wing. Wins the throw in as it comes off Ake. He tried to play inside to Casemiro. Throw in will be left for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who did miss the 6-3 game due to a back injury that he had at the time, as they lose out Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Casemiro, and as Bernardo Silva intercepted, he tried to poke it towards Haaland. It was just a little bit away from the Norwegian, and United could get back in possession with Eriksen trying to find Rashford in behind, but he was blocked off by Cancelo fairly, just using his body to get in front of Rashford, and it fell right through to Ederson, so City in possession again. But both teams could have got in behind then. Like I say, Bernardo Silva's interception nearly found Haaland, and then Eriksen's ball through nearly found Rashford. Rashford tries to take on Cancelo, tried to take on Rashford, and he wins the throw-in as he was tackled by the winger. He's got the throw-in just towards the halfway line here, João Cancelo. It goes to De Bruyne. It's back to Ake. He does find Ederson. He's going to be pressed here by Bruno Fernandes. He's able to clear, though. That's a big kick as well from Ederson. And it'll go all the way through to De Gea. He'll come out of his box and play it over to Malacia at left back. He had to be careful there because Mahrez was closing down. Here's Luke Shaw. Like I say, he has previously played at centre-back, obviously, this season in other games, but he has also played at the centre-back role when United used to play a back three, as Rashford's been very cynically brought down there by João Cancelo. Yeah, completely taken out there by the Portuguese left-back. Under Solskjaer, when they did a three at the back, and other times under Rangnick when they played three at the back, it would be Luke Shaw to take up that left centre-back role. As he plays the ball forward here to Fernandes. Tries to take it on the turn. He does get away from Bernardo Silva. He's got Mahrez pressing him in his own half, but he gets it back to Fred. Then once more across to Luke Shaw. We're half an hour into this Manchester derby and we're yet to see a goal. Now out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back. Down the line it goes to Eriksen. Plays it inside to Varane. His pass intercepted by Ake, but it can't find Foden. And Varane gets it back again and he plays it to De Gea, who slams the ball forward. Cancelo heads it back to where it came from. As far as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who touches it down to Eriksen. Ball inside to Anthony Martial, who can take it on the turn and release it to Bruno Fernandes. Gets it out wide left looking for Malacia. It's a really misplaced pass. That's really poor from Bruno Fernandes. That was a chance for United. And it's now with Mahrez. To Walker. Malacia stayed down. I think he's holding his head. So the referee will stop play. Walker is absolutely furious. Let's see what happened here. As Eriksen got it into Martial, who got it forward to Bruno Fernandes, and it was a really misplaced ball from the Portuguese. Played too short. Oh, that's absolutely nothing. Walker got there ahead of Malacia, and Walker just shoved. That is embarrassing. Actually, I take it back. What happened was, Kyle Walker shoved Malacia to the ground with his shoulder, like fairly done. But as Malacia fell to the ground, his head's gone backwards like that, and he's hit the turf. So I apologise. I will take that back. I thought he'd got hurt from the nudge, not the landing. It was the landing that got him, where his head fell back like that and hit the turf quite hard actually. So like I said, I apologise. I take that back. That did seem a bit of a not a nasty one, but a one that would you'd feel it anyway for sure. Like I say, just over half an hour in, still 0-0 currently in this Manchester derby. Like I say, no real goal mouth action, I'd say. One shot apiece for both sides. None on target. So it's not been the most entertaining of derbies that you'll ever see. Haaland's had a shot blocked. Fernandes has had a shot that's gone wide. Not much really that's happened. So Malacia, after a little bit of treatment, is back on his feet. Like I said, the way his head hit the ground, would have been a sore one. Stuart Atwell drops the ball to Akanji on the edge of the 18-yard box. He waves Malacia back on, and we're back underway with Akanji going for a switch. It's a big switch out towards... I have no idea. That's gone right in the middle of Cancelo and Foden, so I don't think either player knew who it was for. And it then went out for a United throw-in, which has been taken by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Throws it back to Varane, plays it forward to Fred. Casemiro looking for Eriksen, cut out by Mahrez. Now finds De Bruyne, who can't get the touch out to Bernardo Silva. It's now Fernandes, who sets away Rashford on the left. Ederson's come out. He's not got there. Rashford on the left. It's a tight angle. He goes for the shot. It's blocked by Akanji. It will fall to Eriksen. Back out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's got forward from right back. Lays off to the edge to Casemiro. Dinks it in for Martial with the header. Caught by Ederson. Now that's more what we want to see in this derby. A bit more lively action. Like I say, Rashford had been found in behind and Ederson came sprinting out and he never looked like he was going to get there, the Brazilian. And Rashford got it round him, but like I say, once Rashford got it round him and got the ball, it was a tight angle. There was two City defenders on the line. And in the end, he did have the shot, but it was right side of Kanji who could easily block. But that's the first real big chance of the game, I'd say. I know Fernandes had a shot that dragged wide around 15 minutes in. But that's a real chance. That's where you're getting excited. De Bruyne in the City half. Tries to go around the corner to Mahrez. Blocked off by Fred, who's had an impressive first 35 minutes. So there we go. See this again. Rashford played in behind by Fernandes. I think he might have been just off. I don't know. Like I say, it's on the edge of the 18-yard box on the left. He was able to get there ahead of Ederson, take it round the Brazilian, and then once the shot was had, Akanji was able to be saved. And then After that, Casemiro dinked the ball in. Martial header, then caught easily as it looped in the air for Edison, who's now on the ball. Plays it forward to Ake on the edge of the 18-yard box. He'll just slowly bring it forward, the Dutchman. He played all the minutes for the Netherlands in the World Cup. Nathan Ake. It's now Oliver Kanji. Looking for a ball forward. It's another long one. It's one that's got height. It looks towards Cancelo, who's in the striker area. It's cleared. Always finds Foden, who heads it across to Rodri, who gets it out to De Bruyne on the right-hand side. Goes for the cross. It's a delicious cross towards Foden, who I do think got his head on it. But again, just loops into the sky, and it's an easy catch for De Gea. I'm not sure what Cancelo is doing in the striker area, but De Bruyne looking for Foden. I think he might have just been off. The shoulder might have played him on. I'm not sure. It would have been a tight one. But yeah, went for it with a header, but wasn't successful in the end. And there's Casemiro on the halfway line for United. Ball forward with a bit of height on it, looking for Bruno Fernandes in behind. Cut out by Cancelo, hooked away by Ake, now forced to Erling Haaland, who brings it down magnificently and then gets it out to Bernardo Silva on the left. On the halfway line, again slows it down and gets it to the left-hand side to Cancelo, who has joined the attack. Gets away from Casemiro and gets it out to Bernardo Silva, first time cross. And it's chested by Malacia into the hands of David De Gea. Cool defending from the Dutchman, former Feyenoord player. As the cross was too deep for Haaland and Malacia was on his own, so he was able to calmly just chest it down for De Gea. He still has the ball in his hands. You have to remember as well, Erik ten Hag did work under Guardiola for Bayern Munich's reserve team from 2013 to 2015, where he worked closely with the Spaniard. Ball in the air, Rodri with the header. Brought down by Foden. Laid into Bernardo Silva from Foden's chest. Now Cancelo outside the boot, ball in behind, looking for Foden. Varane just about covers and gets there first, but that's a delicious looking ball from Cancelo. When they come off, they do look very, very neat and tidy. Clearance from De Gea, heavy touch from Walker in the United half. It gives it to Fernandes, who can then find Malacia. Ball forward to Rashford. Now Fred into Eriksen. Bags of space. Rashford's making a run in behind. He'll feed him Eriksen. He'll get there ahead of Rodri. Rashford in towards goal, and Edison comes out, makes himself big and closes down the shot. Brave goalkeeping from the Brazilian, because with the form Rashford's in, you'd fancy him there. Like I say, he was always going to beat Rodri. And yeah, that last touch from Rashford in towards the box was just a bit too heavy. That allowed Edison to come out quickly and collect the ball. If that last touch was just a little bit softer, could have been a different story there for Manchester United. He's now back with Edison. Now out to Kyle Walker at right back. Rashford having to recover and try and chase him back down, but it's laid off to De Bruyne. Now out to Riyad Mahrez, around 40 yards away from goal on the right-hand side. Akanji bringing it forward and laying it out to Mahrez. De Bruyne's made a run in behind towards the byline. He'll just about get there, and it's a ball that's straight into the hands of De Gea. Good run there from De Bruyne on the right. That's the runs he does usually like to make. And he was found this time, but the cross wasn't good enough. Easy catch for David De Gea, who has conceded 50 goals against Manchester City in 26 appearances. 45 of those goals conceded in the Premier League. Because he has been on the end of 2 6-goal conceding games. Obviously the 6-1 in 2011 and the 6-3 in 2022. There's Mahrez dropped deep for the ball. He's been clipped down by Malacia. Free kick for City in their own half. We've got 6 minutes plus any added on time left of the first half of this Manchester derby. Again, started to come into life slowly. João Cancelo in the United half. Met by the press of Eriksen, so goes back to Ake. Again, no real tempo to this attack so far for Manchester City. United have had more attempts. They've had 4 to City's 1. City might look to add to that now with Mahrez running on goal in the box. Lays off to the edge to Kevin De Bruyne, and that is an awful pass straight to Casemiro. And Rashford can break away. He takes on Rodri through the legs, and Mahrez does about tackling, but then Fred takes over and he takes on Rodri, but then tackled by Akanji. That ball drops to Casemiro's ball forward is poor, and it's headed away by Akanji, and it falls to Rodri, who gets away from Casemiro. The advantage is played by the referee. Rodri looking to get it forward on the halfway line. Lays it off to Bernardo Silva to his left, who will stride forward and laid off to Cancelo. Sprints down towards the byline, plays it inside to Foden. Towards the edge to Mahrez, behind him again. And United can break. Martial gets it. Forward to Bruno Fernandes, who looks for Rashford in behind. Akanji will give chase and get there first. And tries to get it back to Edison, and he does get it back to Edison. And Rashford's gone down. He's frustrated. As he chased that ball with Akanji, he went down, and it looks like there was something wrong with his groin. We need to see the full extent of this. Looks like he's close to tears, Marcus Rashford, as Edison goes to see what's wrong and to apply some company. As Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland is in the crowd for the derby today. Again, it might not have been his groin, but that's what looked like he held straight away as he chased that down with Manuel Akanji. Let's have a look again. I think it may have occurred when he was battling Kyle Walker, and then Akanji got there first. Rashford pulled up. It looked like his groin. It was. And this could be a real blow for Manchester United, because not long before that, he'd had a big chance to make it 1-0. He got behind Rodri, but Edison was the one who came out and made the big save. He's back on his feet, and he's walking with the medical staff. Not quite sure if they're getting a substitute ready. There's 3 minutes till the 45th minute. Anthony is just had a quick word with Erik ten Hag. Rashford has come back on as City get forward with Kyle Walker, so Rashford has come back on. See how long he'll last. It might not have been as serious as first viewed, as Cancelo gets the ball on the Manchester City left. Again, it's just so slow from Manchester City. It's painful to watch sometimes. Ball into the path of Manuel Akanji. Actually, once again, they're camped in the United half, but Manchester United are just defending very solidly. Like I said, there's no spaces in behind, no spaces in between their defensive line and their midfield lines. So City are just keeping it moving to try and force those spaces, but they're just not appearing for them at the minute. On the halfway line, it's Kyle Walker. Every Manchester United player behind the ball now. As he works it to the right to Akanji, it's now to Mahrez, dropped a little bit deeper for the ball, and lays it back off to Akanji again. So we haven't had a 0-0 since December of 2020, and it was at Old Trafford. Akanji. Ball through to Walker. Lays off to Mahrez. Getting quite far from goal, but he gets inside to Kevin De Bruyne. Left-footed ball deflects off Bruno Fernandes, but will fall to Bernardo Silva. Works on once more to Phil Foden. It's now Cancelo. To De Bruyne again. He's gone from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Finds Bernardo Silva on the edge of the box. It's back to goal. He just about works it to Foden on the far left. After a possible trip by Fred, but City continue. Rodri. Across it goes to Akanji. They're pushing Manchester United further and further back. Walker back to Akanji, because Walker was pretty alone on the right-hand side there. Rodri back out to Akanji, literally around 50-60 yards away from goal. We're now back towards the halfway line with Nathan Ake. Wonder how long will be added on here, as we're nearing the 45th minute now. Or hitting the 45th minute, as João Cancelo, bit of skill, finds De Bruyne on the byline, works the ball across. It's an important header from Varane. It will fall to Foden. Has to go to the edge of the box. Cancelo lays it off to Rodri. Ball forward to Mahrez, who's on the centre. He's been knocked down. No, by Casemiro. He wanted the free kick, Mahrez, but the referee said no. And here's Rashford on the left. Malassi's made a run in behind. He'll chase it down. And it'll just fall out of play before he can get there, Malacia. Good bit of build-up from City, but nothing came of it in the end. That's a foul, by the way, on Riyad Mahrez. Casemiro clipped the leg of Riyad Mahrez on the edge of the box. For me, that should have been a free kick. But the referee said no. Obviously, the bar is a lot higher for a foul these days. It's got 1 minute of additional time in the derby, as it's played back to Edison by Kyle Walker. Not the most electric of derbies, but Manchester United have definitely looked dangerous on the counter-attack. City have not really had many shots at De Gea's goal. Cancelo, ball forward into Rodri, into his path as well. He can latch onto it and run forward. Around 25 yards away from goal. Goes inside to Kyle Walker, who's in a central midfield role. He's going to fancy it from afar. He's going to strike it! And that's not far away from Kyle Walker. He's played Manchester United 23 times before today, and he's only scored against them once. And that was in the 2013-2014 season, and that is just curling past the post. That's not a bad attempt from Kyle Walker. You fancied the strike. You had De Gea diving. But wide it went, and that'll be the last action of the first half. In this 189th Manchester derby at half-time, it is Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. A half of few big chances, if we're going to be honest. Manchester United definitely look more dangerous when attacking because they've got got Manchester City on the counter attack. The first big chance came in the 11th minute where Bruno Fernandes struck wide after Bernardo Silva had given the ball away for Manchester City. Then around 10 minutes later, Erling Haaland had his only chance of the half, and that was a shot that was blocked by Casemiro. Never looked like it was reaching the Manchester United goal. And then the big chance of the half, and the only real big chance of the half, was in the 34th minute with Marcus Rashford, as he was played in behind by Bruno Fernandes. He'd got there ahead of Edison, who'd come out of his goal towards the edge of the 18-yard box. He was beaten by Rashford, and then he had his shot blocked off the line by Manuel Akanji. And then for City, their major big chance came literally on the stroke of half-time, with Kyle Walker striking from around 25 yards out, but it was always curling past the post. And at half-time, it is Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. Like I say, City probably trailing on big chances. United are probably more likely to score because their counter-attacking has been dangerous, but City have dominated possession with 70% of it. But it is looking like this game will be decided, if there is a goal, by only 1 or 2. I don't think there'll be much in this. In terms of derbies and draws, if there is a draw, it'll be the 10th Premier League draw in 52 games. There is 53 draws in the fixtures history. But Rashford did go down in around the 40th minute. It looked like it was something wrong with his groin, but then he was able to get back up and carry on. So he might be brought off at half-time when they actually fully investigate the extent of that injury that he picked up. But he did carry on for the rest of that half, for the last 5 minutes or so of it. But if they were to replace him with anyone, they've got the likes of Anthony on the bench. They've got Garnacho as well, who can come on as well. But for all the possession Manchester City have had, United have come back at them with superb counter attacks. Not one been taken yet, but they have come pretty close. Wonder if City would make any changes. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think anything's wrong with City's lineup. I just think they're playing slow because they want to try and tie in Manchester United and drag them out of their positions that they're currently taking up, because obviously it's very compact. But I think they just need to quicken it up just a little tiny bit. They've got Grealish who could come on, Alvarez, Gundogan as a midfield option, Cole Palmer's on the bench as well. I don't think there's anything wrong with the lineup. I just think the team is playing a little bit too slow and a bit too passive, unfortunately. And it's making for at times a bit of a boring game. But then when they lose it and United just bomb forward the way they do, then that's when it gets exciting. Oh, mate, good to see you back. Thank you very much. Yeah, there won't be as many commentaries, especially the next 6 months with exams coming up. Yeah, there won't be a lot, unfortunately. But there hasn't really been all year. Just last year of college is absolutely crazy. You don't realise until you're in it, and you're just there like, oh, it's a lot more stressful than you think. I've done a few this year, to be fair. Started off with Huddersfield, Burnley. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've done 10. This is my 10th for the season. That's not too bad at all. More than I thought, to be fair. But hoping for a few. I want goals in the second half, please. Make it worthwhile, Jam. I want goals. Give me like a 3-2 or a 2-2, or you know what I mean. But our time is currently upon us. See what they say in the studio here. See what they pick out and analyse. Because United, what I was impressed with most was their getting out of tight situations. I like that a lot. When they're at the back, sometimes, or even in midfield, they were getting pressed quite heavily, but the way they were able to link up, like Eriksen playing it to Casemiro, and first time to Fred, or first time to Bruno Fernandes, I just looked quite that they moved it quickly. It wasn't slow. They knew that they know they need to be quick, because if they're not quick enough, City will just win the ball back and go at them. But I do like the way the combinations that they're starting to make are quite good. And as well, the three in midfield, by the way, are doing an absolute job on the midfield three of Manchester City. You've got Eriksen on Rodri, Fred on De Bruyne, and then you've got Casemiro just watching Bernardo Silva. It's what you need to do. I think with City, if you cancel out their midfield, because their midfield dictates the way the game's played, if you can cancel them out or slow them down, then the whole team gets slowed down. You can say that about any midfield, because everyone's midfield is the main part of the team to play. But especially with City, because they keep so much possession all the time. If City don't have De Bruyne or Rodri or Bernardo Silva on the ball playing at the speed they want to play at, where they have to play a bit slower, then sometimes they spend so long building the ball, they'll keep the ball for 2-3 minutes, and because they've got no one to go to and they're playing it so slowly, when they get caught out, United are off with speed, and City have got to go chasing the ball and go chasing them again. So interesting to see what happens. What developments happen in the second half, because obviously the game will start opening up, because the longer it's 0-0, the more United will definitely fancy their chances being at home and being in such good form. Like I said, they've won 8 games in a row in all competitions, and they've won their last 3 Premier League games as well in a row. And as well, with United, I think a good stat to look at, where I've just looked at my stat sheet, they've only conceded 4 goals at home this season. 2 from Pascal Gross in the first United game of the season, 1 from Saka and 1 from Salah. Other than that, clean sheets everywhere at home for Manchester United. And United had the team who had the biggest chance, with Rashford getting his shot blocked off the line by Akanji. Then Kyle Walker did come close on the edge of the half-time break with his shot that just whiskered wide. Because he doesn't score many, Kyle Walker. He's only scored 6 Manchester City goals in his previous 226 appearances. Half time will be over in just around 4 minutes' time, and then let's hope for a bit more of an exciting second half. But I think it will be more exciting the second half. Like I say, game starts opening up, teams want to win it more. I know it's not one of them where both settle for a draw, because again, at the same time, City and maybe United, I'm not saying for 1 second Manchester United are in a title race, because they're 9 points behind Arsenal. But if they win, they go 6 points behind Arsenal. They go 1 point behind Manchester City. Arsenal have still got to play this weekend, and it is Tottenham away. You can say what you want about Tottenham and their form, but it's a North London derby. Both teams will be up for it. City aren't playing great. We don't know if Arsenal will drop off yet. So I think for both teams, if a title, again, I'm not saying for 1 second Manchester United are in a title race. I'm not. But the 8 wins in a row, they'd be 6 points off top. If Arsenal win against Tottenham and they go 9 points again, then you can debate, whether, Arsenal, even close to the title. But City have got to win because they can't lose any more ground on Arsenal. And if United win, they can look at the top of the table and go, well, we can chase that. Then we can have a go at chasing that down. Again, you might think I'm crazy, but you've got to think of all scenarios. Well, again, I'm not saying United will go for the league or anything, but they won't be too far off top. They're in unbelievable form, and Arsenal might have a dropping off soon. So just to keep up with the pace, I think United will look to try and win this as a big statement for themselves. To firstly try and get that top 4 spot as as locked off as quick as possible, and they might try and chase Manchester City down for second and maybe go 1 more and look at the top of the tree. Who knows? But the form they're in and the way Ten Hag's got them playing, they could definitely aim for second and third, for sure. But again, a draw. I just think a draw will definitely suit Manchester United more, 100%. Because they're not after that title. They just want top 4. They want a strong finish in the season if they can finish second or third. For City, it's definitely a must-win if they're looking to win that league again, 100%. It has to be a must-win. Because if they draw or lose and drop more points, and then Arsenal go on and win on Sunday. Not saying it's over, but it's looking more and more difficult, isn't it, for Manchester City? But they haven't done too bad winning Premier Leagues, have they? They've won 4 under Pep Guardiola. They've got 3 in the last 4 seasons as well. They have won 2 in a row. So no, it's not like they're starving of Premier League titles. They've had plenty as of late, but you always want to win another Premier League title. As boring as it might be for the other teams in the Premier League, obviously for City fans. Like I say, this winning Manchester City has not always been around. So for a lot of the City fans, this winning everything is just dream work. Obviously for some of the younger ones, it might be all they know, but you never get bored of winning Premier League titles. It just might come to the frustration of opposition fans who can't get a sniff at times. Just looking at social media, and Jadon Sancho is at Old Trafford for the game, which is great to see. You remember Ten Hag announcing at the start of the restart where Rashford walking back to United Tunnel did look in a bit of discomfort. I don't think he'll be back for the second half. I could be wrong. But for Jadon Sancho, Erik Ten Hag said he wasn't mentally or physically ready to play. And he hasn't played since the return of club football. Former with Manchester City, Jadon Sancho for 2 years, sold for $8 million to Borussia Dortmund. But it looks like he might be making the team again soon, hopefully for Jadon Sancho. Rashford is returning with the players on the pitch for the second half. It's probably a risk because he doesn't seem like he's moving 100%. So it might be one of them where they might give him 5-10 minutes, see how he gets on, and then bring on a likes of an Anthony or a Garnacho. Anthony did score, well, all 3 goals he scored for Manchester United in the Premier League all came in his first 3 games for them. Against Arsenal in his debut, then against Manchester City, and then Everton away. There's Erling Haaland as well, coming out for Manchester City. Anthony is coming on, but is it for Marcus Rashford? Because Marcus Rashford came back on the pitch to play. So maybe they're taking thought so. Anthony Martial replaced by Anthony, so it does look like Marcus Rashford will go up front somewhere he's played a lot this season, where a lot of his goals have come from. Erik Ten Hag getting the United crowd going again. But Anthony Martial, who was a bit of a doubt for today's game. He played well in the first half, I thought. His link-up play was fantastic, and some of his passing was great, but he has missed 14 games this season in all competitions through injury. So I don't think he was ready to play the full game. So he has been replaced at half-time again. I don't think based off performance, but I think based off fitness. So one change from half-time. It is Martial off for Anthony. And it looks like Marcus Rashford will go up front and Anthony will play on the wing, or it could be Anthony up front and they interchange together where Rashford goes on the left, Anthony up front. We'll have to just wait and see what happens. But it's Rashford who stays on, and it is City kicking left to right, Manchester United right to left. City did kick off, so they currently have the ball in their 18-yard box of Edison, who then finds Nathan Ake. Bernardo Silva back to Edison again. Malacia has it. Loses out to Kyle Walker, who gets it inside to Rashford. But then the play's gone back for that foul on Malacia. Looks like the referee hadn't given it at first, but then he went back to go give the foul. Yeah, it probably was a foul, wasn't it? Mahrez holding Malacia back, which then allowed Walker to come in and take the ball. So it probably was a free kick, in fairness. As De Gea's clear, it's gone straight to Mahrez, who then heads it forward into the space. But De Bruyne isn't that quick. I don't think anyone's that quick to get on the end of that. And David De Gea has the ball at his feet. Over a minute into the second half of this Manchester derby, and it is Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. Who will break the deadlock? Will the deadlock be broken? Let's hope there is a few goals in this game as Luke Shaw clips up the field, only as far as the head of Rodri, goes to the head of Fred, and then to Bruno Fernandes, drifting towards the left-hand side, gets it forward looking for Anthony, takes it beautifully on the turn, but I think he was flagged for offside. Yeah, Darren Cannon with the flag up once again. Right, let's see, Fernandes playing it to him. I think he just strayed offside. Just. But he did turn Ake really well there, Anthony, who looks like he's taken up a striker role at the start of the second half, the substitute. Anthony, the Brazilian, signed for £86 million. Did make 4 appearances at the World Cup, wasn't able to register a goal or an assist for his country. Here's Rodri, City's holding midfielder, pressed by Anthony. And he was just about able to release it to Akanji. Rodri, the Spaniard, who played all of Spain's games in the World Cup at centre-back. Now in a more natural position of holding midfielder for his club. Kanji plays it through to Walker, finds the space. Walker in the United half, bursts forward, goes to his left to Bernardo Silva, 25 yards out. Now on the edge of the box, he fancies a strike and it deflects into the hands of David De Gea. Probably a better option to go to Foden there on the left-hand side there, Bernardo Silva, but he fancied a shot himself, the Portuguese. Like I say, he scored 3 times at Old Trafford previously in his career. But they've got it back here with De Bruyne. Plays it forward to Mahrez, takes on the turn nicely, gets away from Casemiro and keeps it away from Eriksen. He keeps it alive for Manchester City. And he goes back to Rodri. Turns Bruno Fernandes. Plays it out wide left to João Cancelo in the left-back area. He's got forward for City. He takes away. He took on Antony, but then couldn't take on Wan-Bissaka. And he poked it forward to the right winger, Antony, who can bring it forward for Manchester United. On the halfway line on the right-hand side. He flicks it over Bernardo Silva, but it's Ake who can come round to cover and regain the possession for Manchester City. Ederson goes out wide left to João Cancelo on halfway. Makes his way back to number 6, Nathan Ake. He has played the full 90 minutes in his last 3 Premier League games, Ake, so he's been trusted pretty much since the restart of the Premier League. Walker goes back to Ederson. Again, City just getting into their normal rhythm, their normal play of possession. I remember in the season where Manchester City and Manchester United last really went for it together. It was in the 2011-2012 season. Obviously went to the last day where an iconic Aguero moment won Manchester City the league. But in that season, City did do the league double over them. 6-1 at Old Trafford, then a 1-0 win in late April to sway the title towards Manchester City. They're looking for another league double today, beating them at home 6-3. 4.5 minutes into the second half. City full of possession, no real chances as of yet. As it's Cancelo getting forward again from left back. Rodri. Cancelo. Again, no real press from Manchester United. Got to remember, they don't want to tire themselves out too quickly by running around like headless chickens pressing the ball with no avail. Akanji. Forward to Rodri on halfway. Takes on the turn nice. He's got a bit of space to just assess his options. He plays to Haaland, who's dropped a bit deeper for the ball just to get a touch of it, really. And he goes back to Ake, to Rodri, loses out because the pass is deflected off Fernandes, but thankfully for Rodri, it goes to Akanji, so City's rhythm of play can continue. Here's Haaland again, dropping deep for the ball, and I don't blame him dropping deep for the ball. I don't think he's touched it when he's been up the field. You know, as a footballer, when you're playing, you've got to get some touches of the ball. You can't be too starved of touches, because when you do get it, you want to be sharp to finish the chances that you may get. Cancelo looks for De Bruyne down the left. Wan-Bissaka deals with it nicely. Now with Bruno Fernandes. Helps it in behind the City defence, where Antony will give chase, but Ake will deal with him the first time and the second time. Well won from the Dutchman. It's left Antony on the floor, but then again, Stuart Atwell makes a late decision and pulls it back for a foul. Ake saying he got the ball. He got the ball the first time, and then when he went for a second bite, that probably is a foul, isn't it? Actually, he won it the first time, then it was available for both to win it again. Yeah, he's gone through him, hasn't he? Probably is a foul. I just don't understand why it took Atwell, 5 seconds to make the decision. Because obviously Antony did go down in a heap and making the most of it for sure. Free kick, dangerous position. Luke Shaw stood over it. as a left-footed option, so that'd be an in-swinger. An out-swinger would be Ericsson, who I think's also stood over it. Luke Shaw's had a good game at centre-back, but he's not had much to do, to be honest, as Ericsson puts it all the way across towards Raphael Varane! Big save for Ederson, but I think the flag's up. We know how good Ericsson is at set pieces. Ericsson took it quite quickly, to be fair. Too quickly, because Varane was well offside. Actually, he tried to take a quick one to catch United out, but to catch City out, but in the end, he caught his own player out. And Varane was well offside in the end there. Good shot from Varane to get his left foot over it, but yeah, a comfortable save in the end for Ederson. But for Ericsson, he loves an assist against Manchester City. But his record against Manchester City is quite ridiculous. Christian Eriksen, he's got 5 goals and 7 assists in 17 games. But those 7 assists, he's got 1 in each game he's played against City in the Champions League. He played against them twice in the Champions League group stage. In 2012, 2013, and then 2 for Spurs in 2018, 2019 quarter-finals. As De Bruyne gets the ball forward, gets the cross towards Bernardo Silva, back across towards Foden, header won by Varane, still alive, Haaland wins the header to Foden, back to goal, can't quite release it, and Casemiro can bring it away. He still has it, the Brazilian, and he looks out wide left to Rashford, but it's Walker to get there first, goes back to Ederson, closed down by Rashford, he plays it forward to Ake, but it's Cancelo who takes over, he loses out to Bruno Fernandes. And the free kick in the end is given. As Bruno Fernandes dispossessed Cancelo, it was done illegally, said Stuart Atwell. But well worked there on the right-hand side between Mahrez and De Bruyne over 1-2. And De Bruyne got down the right-hand side, not really being pressed from Luke Shaw. He got the ball towards the far post where Bernardo Silva headed it back towards Foden. It was a key interception from Varane. Haaland kept it alive. Foden was dispossessed in the end. Fairly by Casemiro, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's not a penalty for me. He was already going down there. Phil Foden, and then United were able to break. But in the end, nothing came of it. And we are still at 0-0. And Ederson is the one on the ball. And he finds Akanji. Back to Ederson. First time clearance towards Cancelo on the left, who nods it forward to Bernardo Silva. Great header from the Portuguese. Both of them linking up together, like they do for their national team. Here's Cancelo, drives forward, drives inside, gets away from Casemiro and Ericsson and plays it to De Bruyne. Gets it towards Mahrez, well cut out by Malacia. A big sliding challenge from the Dutchman. Again, I think the United fans enjoyed that one. Cutting out a Kevin De Bruyne pass. But still with City as the throw-in. They've took quickly to restart at the back. Ake plays it forward to Bernardo Silva. Cancelo to Foden. Back to the halfway line we go. With Nathan Ake. Kanji. Kyle Walker. I wonder when the first changes were made on the half of Manchester City. We've obviously had one already for United as Anthony replaced Anthony Martial up front. Walker plays it inside and forward to Mahrez. Finds Rodri. Curling left-footed ball out to Bernardo Silva. That's a great ball from Rodri. Foden out wide left to Cancelo. Everything to his right. He takes on Bruno Fernandes. And he takes on Casemiro in the box. Oh, he's nudged down. No referee. No penalty, says the referee. Had to be careful there, Casemiro in the box. He'd just been skimmed by Cancelo. So had Bruno Fernandes. And he was looking dangerous there, Cancelo. He definitely looked better this game, Cancelo, than in previous ones for Manchester City as United counter-attack has ended through Kyle Walker's interception. That's now back with Akanji. I don't think it was a penalty there on Cancelo by Casemiro after his challenge in the box, but just has to be careful nudging him to the ground like that. Mahrez has been found. Great ball, I think it was by Rodri. He gets into Walker, he's got forward, he gets it across, and it's cut out by Luke Shaw. Easy interception in the end there for Luke Shaw because there was no City attackers trying to get in front of him. But here it is again. Cancelo, he nutmegged Casemiro. He was in the box. Yeah, it's just a bit of a soft nudge. Not enough for a penalty, but again, just needs to be a bit careful there, Casemiro. He has got previous against City, because you remember last season in the Champions League where City fans were certain that he should have got sent off for bookable offences. Foden being replaced by Jack Grealish. I can see why Foden's just not quite been able to have the effect that he can have on games. Obviously, he scored his first professional career hat-trick against United in the reverse game. He's not quite been on it this game, not been quite good enough. He hasn't been in the last few weeks as well. Phil Foden, so Grealish is on. Corner taken by Man City. It's now Mahrez who takes it. It's a deep one. Akanji, can he keep it in? I think he has. Header away by Varane. Comes to the edge of the box. Cancelo heads it back in towards the box. Headed away by Luke Shaw. Helped away by Anthony. Only as far as Cancelo, who can restart with Walker on halfway. It was a well-taken corner there from Manchester City. Taken short to De Bruyne. Then got it back into Mahrez. Who had a better angle for a cross. It was a bit deep, but it was kept alive by Akanji. Dealt with by Manchester United in the end, but they come again with Grealish, cutting into his right foot and then laying it off to Rodri. Works it back out wide right to Mahrez. Closed down quickly by Malacia, but can release it to Kyle Walker, who tries to find De Bruyne. Intercepted by Fernandes, who then chases down his touch and he fouls Riyad Mahrez there. Should be a yellow card, really. I think he's going to get away with it though, Bruno Fernandes. Like I say, he was just chasing down his heavy touch after dispossessing Manchester City and then, fouled Mahrez. I would personally give that a yellow card, but he didn't. But again, a vital header away from Varane there as Akanji had kept it in there. Definitely better from City. Again, a lot of keep ball for them, but I just think they look a bit more dangerous than they have been in the first half, especially. United not being able to have as many counter-attacks as the first half, or not as many successful ones. Cancelo getting forward again. He's almost in a central midfield role as he takes on Eriksen. Fires it to Mahrez. Finds Walker, who's joined the attack. Back to Mahrez. Inside he goes to Rodri. Around 25 yards away from goal. Clips it out wide left to Jack Grealish. First few touches for him in the Manchester derby. Gets it to Cancelo. Was he caught late there by Fernandes? I don't think he was, but play continues because Cancelo's come away with it, but then he loses out. His pass through to Bernardo Silva was cut out and it can be cleared by Bruno Fernandes as he looks for Rashford up there on his own. Loses it to Akanji. Ake passes short to Rodri, but Rodri just about keeps it alive for Manchester City. It's now played forward to Jack Grealish, who tries to take on Bruno Fernandes. And he'll get the free kick. Brought down from behind there from the Portuguese international. Jack Grealish, this is what they need to see him do more. Stride forward like that, because he will win free kicks, because it was definitely a free kick. Bruno Fernandes didn't touch the ball, but he's been taken. Here's Kyle Walker to Mahrez. On the edge of the box, trying to get onto his left foot. Finds Walker, who's onside. Right-footed ball across, again comes off Varane. Walker goes down on the challenge from Fred. No penalty given. Play continues with De Bruyne. He goes across now to Ake. A lot better from City, looking a lot more dangerous in the first 15 minutes of this second half. Ball out wide again to Mahrez. Walker's back to his feet. Mahrez gets the ball inside to De Bruyne on the byline. He clips it in. Grealish! Super sub gets a derby goal and it puts the blue half of Manchester 1-0 up in the derby. He's only been on for a couple of minutes, but what an effect he's had. He's already been running at defenders, winning free kicks and now scoring a goal. It'd been coming in this second half. It's been a much improved performance from Manchester City. And could that be the goal that really kickstarts Grealish's career at Manchester City? It's a superb header. It's a superb run. Rodri got it out to Mahrez. Walker had made a run on the far right, which allowed space inside for De Bruyne. He got the ball. He got away from Casemiro, who couldn't stop his cross. Great weight of cross from De Bruyne to just hang it in there for Grealish, who was able to get there first. A statue like Wan-Bissaka just stood there and watched. He was too busy occupied with Erling Haaland, which meant Grealish was allowed to be there on his own to head home from around 6 yards out. He really couldn't miss. He's not known for his heading ability, Grealish. But from close in, he couldn't miss. And he didn't miss. What a substitute. What a goal. And we have lift off in this derby. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1, and it's Grealish who scores it. Literally, he must have been on for, 3 minutes? Maybe not even that. But in that time, in that 3 minutes, he'd won a free kick from Fernandes. He'd been running at United, and now he's got that goal. It's not his first at Old Trafford. He has scored against United once before. in his previous 9. That was 3 seasons ago. You might remember it for Aston Villa when he was on that left-hand side and he cut in and put it into the top right corner. Not quite as good as the goal as that one, but this one probably is as important. Putting his team 1-0 up. Great run in the box. Header home. And like I said, the first 15 minutes of the second half, City just, again, not making, they hadn't made loads of huge chances, but they just looked a bit quicker, a bit sharper. And that, you could see that goal coming. And it has come. And it's United now who have to try and score, back, reply, get back in this game. Mahrez intercepts it, falls to De Bruyne, takes it in his stride beautifully. Malacia, though, great tackle. Really good tackle from Malacia. And now falls to Fred, who works out wide to Anthony, who's kept himself onside. He's going to go for a switch to the left towards Rashford. Header won by Walker. Back to his goalkeeper, Edison. And 63 minutes in, it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1. Jack Grealish with the goal, scoring his second league goal of the season. His other one was against Wolves in game week 8. And he's come off the bench to score. He's been known for his assisting as of late. Assisted the 1-0 win against Chelsea. Assisted against Leeds twice as well. And now he's on the score sheet. Now he is on the score sheet. De Bruyne in a right-back area, a bit deeper for Manchester City there. It goes back to Akanji and across to Ake. United have really struggled this second half to get out and try and get at Manchester City. Here's Bernardo Silva. Here's the goal scorer, Jack Grealish. Cancelo. Rodri. Grealish again. He's running away from Christian Eriksen. He had to be pulled behind. It's got to be a booking. It's got to be a booking for Christian Eriksen. And it is. First booking of the game. But that's what Grealish needs to do that more. He's so good at it. Instead of just playing it back to a fullback, he went the long way around and started running around Eriksen and getting his way forward. He needs to do it more, Grealish. More confidence. Pep Guardiola and Man City players know what Grealish is about. They know he's about running at players. So if he does it and loses the ball, they've got to expect that's the player he is. He needs to do it more. And he gets a booking for Eriksen. And City are back in possession. 25 minutes plus added on time to go in this derby. It's Grealish with a goal. Mahrez tries to find Haaland. I think that's a poor ball. Great interception by Kanji though. Malacia nearly found Bruno Fernandes. And if he had, that would have been danger. Cancelo can't find Haaland. Dispossessed by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Anthony gets away from the slide tackle of Bernardo Silva in the City half. That's great skill from the Brazilian. And then looks in behind and down the line for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But it's been cut out by Edison. It's now back with Rodri, who switches it towards Mahrez on the City right, and he does lay it off to Kyle Walker, who then loses out to Fred, but a foul's been given on Malacia as Mahrez laid it into Kyle Walker. Yeah, just used his body to knock Mahrez to the ground there, Malacia. De Bruyne, expert cross, perfect power. And Jack Grealish could just get right onto it with the header. He couldn't miss. He really couldn't miss. Varane and Wan-Bissaka were marking nobody, really. And Pep Guardiola was delighted with that because literally Jack Grealish had been introduced in the 57th minute and he'd scored in the 60th. It's almost like Guardiola knows what he does with changes when he has to. Sometimes he's reluctant to make substitutes. Sometimes Pep Guardiola. I remember against Everton recently at home, he made substitutes in like the 88th minute. Wan-Bissaka gets away from Grealish. And Cancelo lays off to Casemiro. Just about gets away from De Bruyne. I don't know how he's kept it, but he has. His pass has come off Rodri, but it falls to Wan-Bissaka. I'm not sure United's still on the ball. Rodri's gone. I don't know where Rodri's gone to, but he's been taken out of the game there by Wan-Bissaka, and it's now United in possession. They work it to the left to Malacia, who's got forward. Lays off into Rashford on the left, one-on-one with Kyle Walker. Now with Fernandes on the edge of the box. Across it goes to Fred. Once more to Wan-Bissaka on the edge. Does he fancy a shot? He does. He'll shoot, and it'll be deflected for a corner. Come off Ake last. United have not had really any chances second half, but they've got a set piece. Can they make the most of it? They've also got height in there themselves. With Varane, Casemiro, Rashford. All aerial threats. Christian Eriksen to take. He'll go short to Shaw, who will then put the cross in. Haaland with the header away. And City will get out and press Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's last back for United, who dinks it out towards Eriksen on the right. He doesn't keep it in, though. I'm not even sure if he was onside there, Eriksen, but he couldn't keep it in. And Ten Hag's got some thinking to do. He's only made the one change so far, and that was at half-time. Martial for Anthony. He's also got Garnacho on the bench. Alanga as well. McTominay, if he fancies switching up the midfield. Ederson goes short with the goal kick to Ake. Switches it to Walker on the right. Ake's been superb today, I think. Along with Akanji. Walker. Misplaced ball towards De Bruyne. Picked up by Malacia. Rashford, Casemiro, Eriksen. Back to Rashford towards the halfway line, but it's too short of a pass. And it can be picked up by Riyad Mahrez in the City half. It's now to Cancelo, the left back, who's definitely had a much improved performance. For sure. From previous ones he's had recently. Akanji. Walker. Akanji back to Walker again. Superb play here from Manchester City. Kyle Walker's for a long diagonal. It deflects onto the head of Casemiro, but he can only put it as far as De Bruyne. Here comes an attack for Manchester City. Grealish takes over from Cancelo. He's running at the defence now. Grealish. He takes on two. Fred and Anthony's got Wan-Bissaka who slowed him down. Grealish still on it in a tight area on the left, and he's able to win a throw in towards the corner flag. That's well won from Jack Grealish. He's going to have a bunch of confidence after that goal he scored, but there's going to be a change from Manchester United. And it's going to be Alejandro Garnacho to come on, the Argentine. Signed in October of 2020 from Atletico Madrid. Oh, is United nearly give it away there towards their back line? Wan-Bissaka needs to deal with it. He just about does. De Bruyne was in there to try and nip it away from him, but it was tackled in the end by De Bruyne, and it fell to the feet, or to the hands, should I say, of David De Gea. I wonder who will be replaced there when obviously we get a break in play. Garnacho has got one goal to his name in the Premier League, and that was against Fulham before the World Cup. It was a 94th minute winner at Craven Cottage, which seems to be a great 3 points for United because Fulham are absolutely flying. In 6th place currently on 31 points. "20 minutes to go of the derby. Still yet to make that change for Garnacho. I think it might be a Fred, or it might be an Eriksen to come off, because Eriksen is on a booking. I think it'd be one of the midfield free, so like Fred or Eriksen. Depends if he wants to risk Eriksen on the yellow. Cancelo chip ball down the line. He finds Bernardo Silva, who's been pressed by Casemiro. Casemiro can't really get near the Portuguese international. He's still got it, Bernardo Silva. He's not got many options, so he goes back to Rodri. Works himself away from Eriksen and gives it to Grealish. Inside to Cancelo. Rodri in the left back area. Finds Bernardo Silva. Rodri again. Inside to Cancelo, who's allowed to turn. He should have turned, he had loads of room, but he's gone to Akanji instead. And he'll try and work it down the right-hand side this time with Walker. Finding Mahrez, back to Walker, who's on halfway line currently for the Blues. It's just been complete domination the second half from Manchester City. Definitely a few stern words were chosen from Pep Guardiola at half-time. Walker gets it from Ederson. De Bruyne finds Mahrez on the right. And he's been brought down by Luke Shaw, and that's going to be a foul on the halfway line for City. And I think the change will now be made for Manchester United. It's number 49, Alejandro Garnacho. Let's see who he's going to replace. Yeah, Eriksen. I thought it was. I knew he was going to take off one of the midfielders, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be Fred or Eriksen. I was leaning more towards Ericsson because he was on a booking more than anything. Still this Manchester City free kick to be taken. Mr. Rodri just about gets to Bernardo Silva, who is dispossessed there by Bruno Fernandes, and Wan-Bissaka can get onto it. Slow it down, and he goes back to Varane. He finds his way back to David De Gea. First time ball, looking to the left back Malacia. It's a great pinged ball out by De Gea. Malacia then looks in behind for Rashford, cut out by Manuel Akanji. Then Rodri gets it to Ake. Just absolutely no joy for Manchester United in the second half. None at all. It's been a superb team performance from Pep Guardiola's men. We know this is what they can do. Cancelo works it in front of Grealish. Not quite on the same wavelength there. Grealish and Cancelo, so it rolls out for a throw-in for United. So Garnacho will be playing on the left wing. Casemiro back heel. Nice skill to Anthony. Back into Casemiro. Finds Wan-Bissaka, ball forward and out for a throw-in for Manchester United once again. Rashford up front, Garnacho on the left, Anthony on the right, Fernandes in behind, Rashford with Casemiro and Fred holding. Wan-Bissaka gets it back from the throw-in. Now Varane falls back to his goalkeeper in the 18-yard box, David De Gea. Works it out to Malacia on the left. He's going to be pressed quickly by Kyle Walker. Finds Fred, first time ball to Garnacho. Back to Malacia, clears it down the line, bit of curl on it. It's brought down by Akanji. And he goes back to Edison again, calm and cool defending from the Swiss international. Edison, poor clearance on the field, didn't even reach the halfway line. It's brought down by Casemiro. Fernandes takes over, just about works it to Anthony, who gets it back to Casemiro. Out wide right to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's getting slightly more forward now. Gives it to Bruno Fernandes on the right hand side. Goes for a switch to the left, and he does find Garnacho, the Argentine. He's 1-on-1 with Kyle Walker. He lays it off to Malacia just behind him on the edge of the box. He then puts the cross in. It's a poor one. It's behind everyone. Cancelo can head away. And he can go to the feet of De Bruyne, who tries to take on Luke Shaw. But he doesn't allow him to get past him, Luke Shaw. And here's Malacia, charging down the left. Lays it off to Garnacho. Everything to his right. He's 1-on-1 with Walker. Goes back instead to Luke Shaw, who then puts a cross in. We know how good he is at crossing the ball. And it goes towards Casemiro, cleared by Cancelo. Still alive for United, as Shaw has to go all the way back to De Gea to keep it alive for his side. Ball cleared forward for United up towards Malacia. Header won by Walker. It will fall to De Bruyne, who's been nudged to the ground by Luke Shaw. That will be a free kick for Manchester City. The man with the assist, Kevin De Bruyne. Fernandes obviously not happy as always. It's definitely a foul. Luke Shaw's completely took him out there. You can't really debate that, really. No VAR used yet. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but no VAR decisions have had to be made. Oh, Rodri pings it out to Jack Grealish. Brings it down beautifully. He's now 1-on-1 with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. We know how good he is at 1-on-1 defending. The former Palace right back. And he wins the throw-in. Grealish is quite perturbed by that. He does not believe that was a United throw-in. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka's touched the ball away from him, but as Wan-Bissaka's touched it, obviously it must have come back off Grealish. But the throw-in's only gone as far as Cancelo heads it inside towards De Bruyne, won though by Fred, as United try and play out from the back here. Anthony can't go back to Wan-Bissaka. It's intercepted by Grealish, takes it away from the winger. And he wins the throw-in himself, Grealish. As the sun shines in Manchester. Thrown by Cancelo, won by Wan-Bissaka, and he clears away up towards Rashford, who loses that to Ake, but then Fred takes it away from De Bruyne, and he sets away Garnacho. On the left-hand side here, Walker's there up with him, and Akanji will take it away from him, and he will... And it's a free kick. Not quite sure what happened there. Akanji got there ahead of Garnacho, took the touch forward. He was trying to see it out from a goal kick, and then he kept it in play. Then Walker was leaving it for Edison. Then in the end, Walker had to try and shield it to keep it away from Garnacho. In the end, Garnacho conceded, give a free kick away in the end. Here's Ake. Bernardo Silva back to Edison. He's pressed by Bruno Fernandes, but he does work it to Ake. In the end, it's a goal kick. Edison with the goal kick. Pushing his team forward as well, which I don't think you see too often. Edison goes long. He kicks it towards De Bruyne. He keeps in as well. Flicks it on down the line towards Malacia. We'll see that for a throw in his own half. Throws it. Intercepted by Mahrez. Poor throw in that. De Bruyne now has it. Pokes it forward. Can't find anyone in a blue shirt. And it will roll back to De Gea. He rolls out to Varane. Forward to Casemiro. Out wide right to Wan-Bissaka. It's a bit of a short pass, but he does get there. Head of Bernardo Silva, and he works away from the Portuguese international, gets it forward to Casemiro, getting in between the lines here. Casemiro plays it through to Rashford. He's in behind. He's probably going to score here. Bruno Fernandes takes over. He puts it in the back of the net, and I do think Rashford is offside. Fernandes is absolutely furious here, but Rashford does touch the ball. There's a bit of confusion here. I think it's offside. Let's have a look. Casemiro played it through to Rashford, who's well onside. Bruno Fernandes isn't. Oh, Rashford doesn't touch it. Rashford is well offside, but he leaves it for Fernandes, who's onside, who then finishes the ball. This will be interesting. This might be a goal. Rashford doesn't touch it, but is he interfering enough with play? Bruno Fernandes is 100% onside. I said there's been no VAR used yet. VAR will probably now be used. A goal's been given. Bruno Fernandes equalises for Manchester United. Confusion at its finest there. Like I say, Marcus Rashford was well offside, but he left it. And I think this is what Manchester City are arguing their case for. The fact that Rashford... You can debate he interfered with play because he was running towards the ball, but he did leave it in the end for Fernandes, who was onside. Like I say, Casemiro played it through to Rashford, who then was running towards the ball and then left it for Fernandes, who then... Good finish from Fernandes, just on the edge of the box. Edison had come out to close the angle and he just sweeps it round him into the back of the net. I think the goal is going to be given. Manchester City are not happy at all. And with United struggling for the whole of the second half, one chance on the counter and they've equalised. I'm pretty sure the goal's going to be given. Like I said, Manchester City are really not happy. I think they're debating the fact that Rashford interfered with play. I think that's their argument for it. We're not restarted yet until right now. So the goal's been given. It's Manchester United 1, Manchester City 1. Bruno Fernandes with the goal. He scores only his second goal against Manchester City. His last one came in a 2-0 away win back in the 2020-2021 season. That was from the penalty spot. This is from open play. Bit of an unlucky goal for City to concede because obviously they presumed Rashford was going to take the ball on and not leave it for Fernandes, who was well onside. But I think City have just got to keep playing the way they've been playing the second half. They've been much the better side. And United have struggled to contain City, but they've kept themselves in the game and they've got an equaliser as their reward. And we've got 9 minutes plus added on time. See if we get a winner here at Old Trafford. De Gea's ball clearance is cut out by Walker. It's been found by Rodri. It's now De Bruyne takes on Shaw. Takes him out of the game completely. And then he finds Kyle Walker on the right. He puts a cross in. It's a measured cross, but straight onto the head of Casemiro. As far as Walker heads it back into the box. Headed away again by Casemiro. It's now Fernandes, who finds Malacia. Clears away. As far as Akanji. His head has only gone as far as Fred, who plays into the path of Bruno Fernandes, who works it wide left to Garnacho. City are all over the place here. Garnacho in the box on the left. Tries to get the crossing. Comes off Akanji. Back to Garnacho. Turns Ake and he finds Rashford. And from 1-0 it's 2-1 within minutes. Rashford has scored for the 9th home game in a row. It is absolutely crazy. Garnacho with the assist. And it's a crazy turn of events at Old Trafford here, where in the matter of 4 minutes, they've gone from 1-0 down to 2-1 up. City were all over the place there defensively. I'm not sure what was going on. Rashford's the one who scored it. 7 minutes until we played the 90. Fernandes was played into space where he was able to release it to Garnacho. He was being closed down by Ake. Then his cross was off Akanji's chin. And then he turned. Ake got a ball across. He's onside Rashford. Ake was playing them onside. Akanji couldn't pick up Rashford. And from around 5-6 yards out, he could poke it beyond Ederson in the Manchester City goal. And again, it's going to be a goal that stands. It's Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1. What a turn of events at Old Trafford. Who would have called that? Ten Hag is delighted as he charges down the touchline. And City have got plus added on time about 12 minutes to turn this around. That is incredible. Bruno Fernandes scores in the 78th minute. Rashford scores in the 82nd. Walker ball towards De Bruyne. Loses out. He's surrounded by 3 Manchester United players there. And they're on it again here. Kyle Walker, though, intercepts this Fernandes pass this time towards Garnacho. Bernardo Silva, pass deflects over towards Rodri. He now has it on the halfway line for City. He has to go back to Ederson. Crazy turn of events. Crazy. And Bruno Fernandes has gone down here. The ref stops play. It's not a head injury, so I'm not quite sure why he stopped play. If I'm going to be honest, if United keep these 3 points... if United keep these 3 points and Arsenal beat Tottenham at the weekend, I think that will be the title race over. Because City again, I mean, the second half, they've played very well. It's literally these last 5 minutes where they've conceded 2 goals, where it's just all gone, defensive turmoil everywhere. Good finish by Rashford through the legs of Ederson. Yeah, I just don't see where City can conjure a title charge at this point, because they're already 6 points behind Arsenal. 6 points? That's definitely wrong. 5 points behind Arsenal. That could turn to 8. United are a point behind them. Same games played, by the way. This will put United on 38 points. Manchester City on 39 after 18 games each. Mahrez, ball in behind. It will find De Bruyne, who will look to get the cross in, and that is overhit. But it does find Grealish, who keeps that after Bernardo Silva. He'll cross it towards Haaland, over his head. Luke Shaw with the header. To Mahrez on the edge. Now Cancelo pokes it to Rodri. Back out to De Bruyne. First time ball across to Haaland. Shoots. Is he brought down there by a defender of Manchester United? No, says the referee. Complaints from Manchester City. I think it will be checked by VAR. Cancelo does shift it out wide to Bernardo Silva. Haaland still complaining. He needs to get in the box here. Bernardo Silva on the far left-hand side. Twisting, turning. Gets a cross in. Header won by Varane. Well, as far as Jack Grealish on that far left-hand side. It's now Cancelo. Cross in towards Erling Haaland, who wins the header over the bar. I think Haaland wants the penalty. Need to see a replay of it, to be honest. Guardiola's certain it is. Let's have a look. Not for me. Haaland goes to swing at it. Oh, but then Casemiro just catches left foot. Let's have a look again. Haaland goes to swing. It's minimal contact, but it does put Haaland off. No penalty given. It would have been soft if it had been given against Manchester United there. I mean, I see where the appeals are coming from, because, you know, it's 87th minute, your player's been brought down in the box, you're going to ask for it, aren't you, when you're trailing? But yeah, as he's gone to strike, I think it's more Haaland's kicked Casemiro than the other way around, to be completely honest. Bernardo Silva, oh my days, how he's kept that alive is unbelievable. He finds Jack Grealish, who gets away from Casemiro, has a wild swing at him, that needs to be a booking. Then Fred takes him out in the end, that'll be a booking by the Brazilian. But Casemiro, that's a dirty little kick he's had at Grealish. Thankfully for Grealish, he's dodged it. Fred was the one who ended up getting booked for taking him down in the end. I think City is still a little bit not happy with the first Manchester United goal, because you can't not say that Rashford wasn't interfering, because he's literally running at the ball, but then he doesn't touch it. I'm not sure with that one, because he's running at he's not running away from the ball, Rashford, at first. He's running towards it. So that's him getting involved in play, in my view. Bit of time wasting here. Casemiro stayed down. Physio's on. I think Casemiro's getting booked as well. Good to see that from the referee, because that Casemiro little kick he had towards Grealish, it's naughty. It was naughty. 90 seconds of the 90 to play. We'll get a bit of added on time with all this stoppage, and I think we'll probably get about 4 or 5, maybe 6 minutes of added on time. Just an interesting one with that first goal, with the interference of play. I think you can just debate it all day. United fans will say he's not interfering. City fans will say he is interfering. I think it's just one of them. But eventually, Casemiro has to come off. So he will not be there to defend this free kick. It's De Bruyne. De Bruyne and Mahrez over it. It's going to be a cross into the box. High line for Manchester United. Again, Casemiro can't come back on the pitch yet. Stuart Atwell blows. De Bruyne gets it wide right to Walker. Plays it short, but does get it back to De Bruyne. Casemiro's waved back on. De Bruyne crosses. It deflects off Antony. And he'll find Walker, who then crosses it himself. Bit of a deflection on it, and Bruno Fernandes can hook clear, as far as a throw-in the final third for Manchester City. Kyle Walker with the throw-in. I'm going to have a guess that Walker probably does have a longer throw on him. He could probably get it in there with Kyle Walker, and he does have a long throw towards Haaland. Shaw with the header. Fernandes sends it back to Garnacho, who can then volley it away up towards Antony, towards halfway line, but it's Kanji to win the header for City. Forward by Mahrez. De Bruyne knocked to the ground by Fred. Throw-in for City instead of a free kick. Double change for United as they see this game out. 5 minutes of added on time. Martinez and McTominay will be coming on. And Maguire, I saw in the end in there, as Shaw has it in the left-back area. No changes made yet. The game got back underway first. Akanji forward to Rodri on halfway, and then out to Cancelo on the left. Will there be heartbreak for United in the derby? Because it looks like City have lost the chance of winning the game. I think they've run out of time for that as Grealish gets inside to Rodri. Clips it to the right-hand side to Mahrez. It does find the Algerian, and he finds Walker on the edge of the box. Mahrez again. Rodri loses it in the end to Fred. Rashford. Fred again. And it's out to Antony. He's one-on-one with João Cancelo. He's not known for his one-on-one defending. He scored in the 6-3, Antony. He then gives it to Rashford in the box. Try to shape. Chance for a shot. Out to Garnacho. He's already got one assist. Looks for a goal. Shot blocked by Walker. And it can be brought away by Rodri in the end. Only cleared as far as Casemiro. Who gets it out wide left towards Malacia. Who just about keeps it in. And Garnacho back to Casemiro on the far left here. And they win a throw-in off Mahrez. And here comes the triple change. Maguire, Martinez and McTominay. So Rashford will be coming off for Manchester United. think Malacia will probably be going to a left wing position here for the last 2 minutes. I think Luke Shaw will go wing back. So Maguire's on. Casemiro's off on a booking. So McTominay comes on. So that's a like for like. And Malacia is off for Martinez. So Shaw will go wing back. Martinez will play in a back three with Varane, Maguire and Martinez. So got 2.5 minutes left, maybe an extra minute for those substitutes. As Garnacho gets it from Fernandes and he's offside. Free kick for City, can get this ball forward. Taking it short to Rodri. I think a lot of people are also agreeing with the fact that Rashford did get involved in that goal and it probably shouldn't have stood. But it stood nonetheless, and here's Kyle Walker bringing it forward for City on the halfway. He gets the ball across to Cancelo, just about gets there. Bernardo Silva lays back off to Cancelo. He can run into this United half here. Gets away from the challenge of Bruno Fernandes. Here's a Kanji. Out to Riyad Mahrez. Kanji's got forward here. He's going to put a cross in. Header won by Varane. Rodri. Walker. 90 seconds left. Again, I think there'll be a bit more added on. Rodri does find Bernardo Silva, tries to let it inside towards Cancelo, just about beats McTominay to it, and then Rodri sprays it wide left to Jack Grealish. Gets onto his right foot, crosses it towards the far post where Haaland was there. Shaw with the header. Martinez hooks away. Not very convincing, it only falls as far as Walker, who's high up the pitch for City. And he goes across to Cancelo. Ake. Bernardo Silva driving inside. Rodri, Bernardo Silva. Cancelo, City are struggling to break this down. Tottenham game tomorrow. I think Arsenal will win tomorrow, but I don't know, because they're at home, so who knows. Mahrez, 1-on-1 with Luke Shaw. City running out of time here. Kyle Walker into Bernardo Silva, tries to flick towards De Bruyne. Fred loses out, and it's back to Bernardo Silva on the edge. But then he's tackled very strongly by Luke Shaw, and that could be the game. Fernandes gets it forward to Garnacho. His touch is short, and Rodri has it. Again, 20 seconds to go, but we might have a bit more added on due to the 3 substitutes that Manchester United made. Still Rodri to Ake. They don't change the way they play, do they, Manchester City? Out it goes to Grealish. Driving inside. Gets away from Anthony. Still going Grealish. Works it to Bernardo Silva. Crosses it towards Haaland. Header won by Martinez. Back in by Silva. It's head tennis. Still alive. Maguire wins it. Brought down by De Bruyne, who heads it forward. Header won by Shaw. Now Rodri. Grealish as it gets on the ground. Tries to look for Mahrez. It deflects all the way through to David De Gea. And I think that might be game. Very messy at the end there. De Gea's staying down for as long as possible. And after 3 derby wins in a row for Manchester City, it looks like the bragging rights will be returning to the red side of Manchester. Game changed in literally 5 minutes. Rashford, Casemiro, Malacia ready to celebrate. We've played an extra minute of what was added on. I think it's actually a free kick in the end given. I think for an offside or a foul, because De Gea's got it on the floor. He kicks it up the field and Stuart Atwell blows the whistle. Manchester United have a derby day delight. It's Ten Hag's first victory over Guardiola. Controversy over United's first goal where Rashford was deemed to not be getting involved in the play where Fernandes could finish. But before that, City were put in the lead an hour in after Grealish had scored after 3 minutes of coming on. And then in the 78th minute, Fernandes equalised. Again, controversy with that one. But then Rashford got the winner in the 82nd minute, poking it beyond Ederson after Garnacho putting it across the goal for Rashford to finish. It ends at Old Trafford. It's United 2, City 1. There's a lot of annoyed Manchester City players letting Stuart Atwell know their beliefs and thoughts after that decision made for the first goal. Cancelo really isn't happy. I think there'll be an inquest into the goal for sure. But United have the bragging rights. They are now 1 point behind Manchester City. City are still 5 points behind Arsenal. They've got a game in hand. And it does look like for Arsenal, this is a massive result. Could the title now be theirs? City are furious with Stuart Atwell, the referee, with that first goal. Again, people can debate it. It'll be looked into. We'll see what other people think after it. But at full time, Manchester United 2, Manchester City 1. I've got to go quick because I've got to get to a game myself at 3 o'clock. So I've got to go. But what a derby. It all kicked off in the second half where the 3 goals came from. Grealish, the substitute, who's not happy with the referee at the minute. He's having to go at the linesman now. City seriously aren't happy at the minute. Grealish scored his second league goal of the season, an hour in. Equaliser from Fernandes. 4 minutes later, Rashford got the winner in the 82nd minute. And City stay second. United jump to third. But for Arsenal, I think this is the biggest result for them. They stay 5 points clear with a game in hand. Could this be a big game for the title come the end of the season? But for me, it's the end of the stream. Make sure you like, subscribe if you haven't already. Ends Manchester City losing to United by 2-1.